Welcome to the Spicy Apron cooking show. Well, we could all use some comfort food. So today I am going to show you how to make Instant Pot meatloaf. It's super moist, it's super tender. And if you stay with me, I'm going to show you a trick that you may or may not know about how to get a nice crust on the top of it. My name is Heather, and I'm the author of 2 authorized Instant Pot cookbooks. I will put links to those below. Let's just say I know my way around a pressure cooker. I am also an equal opportunity pressure cooker. I have several different brands, like them all. So I've got a couple of secrets that will take this meatloaf to the next level. First, you're going to want to take your pressure cooker and put it on saute and let it get hot. It will say hot on the display when it gets hot. Now, I chose to do meatloaf right now because apparently you guys are all buying up all the ground beef because man, did I have a hard time finding it right now. Totally understandable, but I did find some. So let's start with sauteing some little veggies in your meatloaf. I know a lot of you don't do it that way, but I love to add the veggies. I add some chopped onion. The full recipe link is below. It'll take you to thespicyapron.com, my food blog, and you will find it there. So now that my pot is hot, I'm gonna add my chopped onion as well as some finely chopped carrots and celery. The reason I love to add the veggies to my meatloaf is for 2 reasons. One, it's a great way to get your vegetables, but also it really does improve the overall texture of the meatloaf. Instead of it being a big, heavy blob of meat, this lightens it up just a little bit and it adds a lot of flavor. So saute those vegetables for about 3 or 4 minutes until they're just turning soft. I did just move in the midst of all of this chaos that's been going on for the last few weeks. I also moved on top of it. Yes, my new kitchen is a little bit dated. I'm going to be working on that, and I'm still working on my overhead camera shot, but I will do the best I can. I've got a side camera over here. So this is what the veggies look like in the side camera. So I am working on getting that fixed for you. Please bear with me. Now, when the veggies are just about softened, about 3 or 4 minutes in, add a couple of cloves of garlic. And I do have a link down below that you're gonna wanna click on because it is my top 10 pressure cooker recipes. It is a free download. It'll go straight to your inbox and you can check out all of those recipes. They are all printable to make it easy for you to grab. And when you go to the grocery store, you'll know exactly what you need to buy. What is it about onion and garlic just sauteing? It's gotta be just one of the best smells ever. I have certainly read about some chefs who just saute garlic and onions on the side, even if they're not using it in their recipe, just to make the whole environment smell good. That is a good trick. Okay, now that these are soft, we are going to mix everything that goes in the meatloaf together. So let me get this out of the way. Don't forget to push the off button to cancel the saute function. Okay, so this is one of the secrets to this amazing meatloaf. I use a mixture of 2 pounds of ground beef. Yep, I was able to find 2 pounds of ground beef, but that is it. That's all they would let me buy. But fortunately, I also use 1 pound of Italian sausage. Now, I choose the spicy variety because I like it spicy. But if you want the mild or the sweet version, please go ahead and add that. But adding the Italian sausage just makes a huge difference in that final taste of this amazing meatloaf. So start with your meats and then add those veggies that you just sauteed. Now these are a little bit hot, but that's okay. Just go ahead and dump them right on top of the meat and we're gonna mix all of this together. Next, you're going to add 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs to bind all of that together and 1/2 cup of cream, so it's super moist at the end, and a couple of teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. It gives it a really, really good depth of flavor. I'm still getting used to this new kitchen. I'm used to my sink being on the left and now it's on my right. So if I stumble over myself, cut me some slack. Okay, also I add some barbecue sauce. Now this is just store-bought because as you know here at the Spicy Apron, I like to show you the easiest way to get the best results in your kitchen. Store-bought barbecue sauce. There's so many wonderful varieties out there. This is a spicy one, which shouldn't surprise you. Now I put half of it on in the mixture and then I put half of it on top later. So make sure to reserve some of that. And a couple of diced green onions. Also save a little bit of those to throw on top for color and presentation. And not surprisingly, salt. I would say start with about a teaspoon of salt. You can also salt it later if you think it needs it. And fresh ground pepper, my favorite. And of course, since it's meatloaf and you need to bind it all together with those breadcrumbs, a couple of eggs that are just lightly beaten. And a little spicy bonus, I do like to add about 1/4 teaspoon of hot pepper sauce. I use Tabasco. Feel free to use whatever kind you like. It just adds a little kick that I love. All right, now what you're gonna wanna do is mix it. I mix it with my hands. I get it started with a spoon, but I mix it with my hands. Yes, I wash my hands all the time, so please do not worry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it with my hands. Feel free to use a spoon or your hands is a lot easier. And yes, it's the only time I take off my wedding ring is when I'm gonna mix this with my hands because yeah, it gets stuck in my ring. So let's get to mixing. Now, as you're mixing, you really want to work the meat all together, but you do not want to over mix it because it does tend to get a little bit tough. So it's just a balancing act. You don't want too much, but you certainly need enough to get everything mixed together. I'll tell you what, this hasn't even started to cook and it smells amazing. Okay, now that it is all mixed, I'm gonna clean up a little bit, clean the pot from your Instant Pot because we're gonna put it back in there on top of some foil so it cooks in the foil. Okay, now the fun part, it is all mixed. Doesn't that look delicious? And I'm going to just dump it on 2 layers of foil. Now, a lot of people do their meatloaf in their pressure cooker inside another pot. That's called pot in pot cooking. I have a link below to an Instant Pot course that I created. You can go ahead and click that link and just see what the curriculum is and see it's got all kinds of good stuff. 30 videos on how to use your Instant Pot, and it covers pot in pot method. But I like to do my meatloaf just freeform. So pour it in and form it into a loaf, a round loaf that will fit inside your Instant Pot inner pot. So keep that handy so you can kind of eyeball it and see, make sure you make it the right size. And you do want to pack it pretty tightly so it doesn't fall apart after it's cooked. I have had some people talk about that their meatloaf after it's pressure cooked, it just kind of didn't hold together. That is most likely why they did not pack it tightly enough. You can see that combination of those meats, the sausage and the ground beef. Oh, so delicious, I can't wait. And I would love to know, what do you guys serve with your meatloaf? Of course, my favorite is mashed potatoes, but if you don't like potatoes, I've got this recipe for Instant Pot beans, and they are so good and super easy to make too. But comment below with your favorite side dish to go with your meatloaf. Okay, so this looks like it's going to fit in that. Now you just bend up the edges of the foil so it'll fit in the pot. Some people poke holes in the bottom to drain the fat out as it cooks. I don't do that because I like the moisture that gets absorbed back into the meatloaf, but it's absolutely your preference. I've done it both ways. It is delicious both ways. Okay, so I have my Instant Pot inner pot and I have my trivet in it. You do not want this sitting directly on the heat source, but as with all pressure cooking, don't forget to add a cup of water to the bottom because it requires that to come to pressure and create the steam needed to pressure cook. Okay, so I've got my trivet in here. Again, sorry about the lack of overhead camera. Hopefully you can see that. Trivet and water. Now we're just gonna shove our meatloaf in there. All right, you see that? It is all wrapped up kind of like a baby in there. Oh, that kind of does not make for a good image. But anyway, you get the point. It is all tucked away. Also, another important point, please make sure to tuck your tinfoil down so it does not get in the way of the lid of your pressure cooker. Now, let me grab that and we're gonna put it in. All right, the meatloaf is going in the pressure cooker. Now this is when I put my reserved barbecue sauce. I drizzle it right on the top, and I even save just a little bit for after it's cooked. And don't forget, I've got that secret way of browning the top coming your way, so stay with me. All right, lid goes on and it gets put on pressure cook on high for 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and then let it naturally release for 10, and then go ahead and release the rest of the steam, and I'll be back with you. Okay, done with that 10-minute natural release. Now this meatloaf, oh, smell. Gosh, they need smell TV. It is fantastic. It is fully cooked, so we can be done with it at this point, but I promised you that I was going to show you a trick to brown it on the top. Now you have two issues, and you know what, I forgot, I don't have my overhead camera still. So here, I'm going to show it to this other camera and hope you can see it. Now you can see from that shot, you do still have the juices in there, so it's going to be very, very moist, but please be careful when you take it out. Now you have two choices to brown the top. One is pull it out and put it on a broiling pan. Okay, let me back up. You have three choices. One is don't brown the top at all, which is perfectly great, and that's usually what I do, because now you're done and now you can eat. Or you can take it out and put it on a broiling pan under your broiler for about 5 minutes to get that char on top. But the secret way that you may not know about is I have the Mealthy crisp lid, and this basically turns your pressure cooker into an air fryer. So all you do, see, you can see the heating element on the bottom here. It's got all kinds of temperature settings. It's a great gadget. I use it all the time. And you just set it right on top. And yes, it fits your Instant Pot. And no, it will not void your warranty. And if anybody has had that happen to them, I would like you to please contact me, because I am an attorney and I would love to look into that. I just put it on the highest temperature setting because that way it is the most similar to broiling it. And you can set the time if you want, but I'm just gonna watch it for 5 minutes. You do wanna keep your eye on it and hit start. And yes, it does kind of look like, I don't know, something from some space show you would watch. But anyway, it works great. I'm gonna keep my eye on this for 5 minutes, pull it out, cut it up, and show you how fabulous it is. Okay, so this has been going about 5 minutes. I'm gonna stop it, see what we've got, and that is perfect, beautiful. Let me see if I can tip it for you to see. That's got that nice, it's not too charred on top, but it's got that nice crispiness on the top that a lot of people love in their meatloaves. Now, we are gonna take it out of here. This is super hot, so please be careful when you do that. Use a rag of some sort, and lift out the aluminum foil. Now, please note, the oil in here is super, super hot, so don't just plop it and let it run everywhere. This has a nice catch-all around it, so any juices that escape will go ahead and go in there. But I'm also gonna try to dump them out as I lift it up. See how I just pour some of that juice out of here before I put it on my cutting board. Okay, so when it comes out, this is what it looks like. It's best if you let it sit for about 10 minutes to sort of hold together a little bit better. And at this point is when I drizzle just a little bit more of my barbecue sauce on the top. Doesn't that look amazing? Oh, you guys, I just wish you could smell it. And I'm going to add a few more green onions to the top of it. And that is how you make Instant Pot meatloaf. Let me cut into it. And by the way, for those of you who have a 3-quart or the mini Instant Pot, I did do a video up here of the meatloaf with different proportions just for the 3-quart mini. So check that video out if that's the one you have. Now, let's cut into this. Now, look at that. I love to do big, thick slices because if there are leftovers, which often there are not, but if there are, we love to do sandwiches out of them. But look, this is perfectly moist and tender. Let me do my best to get it on this plate for you. And there you have it, this huge, beautiful, amazing Instant Pot meatloaf. And of course, you know I have to taste it. I am starving and I have been smelling this for the last hour. Oh my gosh. That's delicious. This is good old comfort food at its finest. Serve it up with some mashed potatoes or whatever you put in the comments below that you like to serve your meatloaf with. Thank you for joining me on the Spicy Apron Cooking Show. I will see you next time. Happy cooking and happy eating.